Are we done yet?
So bored.
Oh, shit.
Your steering sucks.
We could have had
Jeep.
another Raptor in the family.
Jeep.
What
Jeep.
just-
Jeep. Where's the milkshakes?
Over there.
We need to go get milkshakes.
Yeah, so we're gonna go get
It's like
milkshakes.
fucking hot.
Hey guys, hello, Keep It Dirty Off-Road. Today we're gonna do a video about all the issues we've been having with our steering. Now for a couple months now since we got the truck, we've been having a lot of issues with the steering where it doesn't want to stay straight. Some of it, we initially thought it was due to the dealer not properly torquing bolts down. We're recently finding out that it wasn't just that. Okay, this right here is our steering wheel as we're going down the road. Yeah, it's not straight. And we've been going back and forth quite a bit. We'll go ahead and adjust the steering to get it back to center. And then we'll hit a bump, it'll get knocked in one direction. Then we'll hit another bump, it'll get knocked in another direction. And that's kind of what we've been doing. So initially we thought it was an alignment problem. So, you know, and we actually had some loose bolts. So you guys saw us adjust it on the EXO run. Now, once we got those bolts tightened up, we were still having problems. The alignment was still going off, and it just wasn't, you know, we would go on an off-road trip, and the alignment would go off in one direction, we'd adjust, we'd go on the next off-road trip, it'd go out in the other direction, we'd adjust again, and that just kept happening over and over again. In fact, on some trips, it would keep flip-flopping back and forth. Our truck should not be doing that because we have caster camber locks. Now, if you're wondering what caster camber locks are, it's those bad boys right there. They're on all four corners of the lower control arm, and what they do is they lock in your alignment. Those should be keeping the alignment so that we only have to do it, you know, once every 6 months or so after quite a bit of off-road damage. And unfortunately, we've been having to do a toe adjustment after every single time we go off-road, which is not normal. Now, in this time that we've had this issue, a couple of things have been changed out. On that same token, we were also having problems with the violently shaking steering wheel. Oh, shit! Basically, what would happen is we would hit a rough section, and if we hit the brakes, we would get some violent shaking from the steering wheel to the point that we couldn't really hold on to the steering wheel. And it was pretty bad. It was like, you know, break your wrist bad. Oh, shit! It was break your wrist bad if you were on washboards. It was pretty bad. So all of this stuff has been happening together. When we told the dealer, they've actually replaced the steering. They replaced the steering rack. And they've actually replaced the steering rack twice on this truck because of the violent shaking and because of our alignment issues. When we first had the issue, we were having some leaky seals on the steering rack, so that's why they replaced the first one. After they installed the second one, we weren't seeing the difference between, you know, comfort and sport. It was just all felt sport, so they replaced the second one, and we're on our third steering rack on this thing. On that same token, because of that violent shaking, we've also had to go back in and tighten up this bolt a few times. They have it again. Fucking Ford, you guys need to fix this bullshit. If you guys haven't seen that video, we'll link it up here. But yes, we've had to go back in and tighten that bolt a few times. On the last trip, it was actually causing some errors. Every time we hit like a nasty bump while we were at EXO's group therapy, we would actually lose traction control. We actually had some alarms that would go off on the truck. There's the advance track and the pre-collision. And after that trip, the dealer, I guess, related that code to the arm that comes down being a cause. So if you look at the steering, there's that arm right there. There's the one right below it. The one right below it apparently had too much play in it, and it was replaced. And you can kind of see it, right? The one above it is nice and clean. The one below it is nice and shiny. That arm was replaced because of all the shaking and everything going on. They said that that arm was having some issues. So as you guys can imagine, I'm getting fed up with the steering system on this truck. Our old truck didn't have any issues. We didn't even get the violent shaking or the loose steering wheel till 60,000 miles. It was quite a bit a ways into the actual truck's life. This one, from the start, it's had steering issues. The electronic steering is just annoying on this thing. So in this video, we're gonna go ahead and adjust our toe alignment back to get that truck back to straight. We're gonna take it off-road, show you guys how it goes from straight to off after just very mild stuff. And then I'm gonna try and replicate that violent shaking, because the violent shaking is what usually causes the alignment to go out. And I have a feeling that there's a sensor wrong in the actual steering that may be causing all this. And I don't know how that's going to be fixed, right? Does the whole steering have to be replaced? I don't know. But I'm obviously getting fed up. It's been at the dealership 3-4 times now for the same issue. It's definitely going to qualify for some kind of lemon law protection here at some point. But I don't care about that stuff. I just want to get my truck fixed. I want to be able to use it again and not have to worry about adjusting the alignment every single time. So let's get to it. Let's get her adjusted, and let's get on the trails and show you guys how it acts, and hopefully we'll capture it. All right, so after spending it felt like an hour last night trying to get the steering straight, this morning, after just hitting some minor bumps on the freeway, steering's already coming off. It's already kind of pulling to the right a little bit. I'm having to constantly compensate. She was straight last night. I spent a shit ton of time last night trying to get her straight. So it's only going to get worse as we start off-roading today. We'll see what happens. You guys saw our video last week. We went out to Cal City to do some testing, trying to convince the wife to get into a Raptor. That kind of didn't work out because our steering started acting up, but you can already see some of the things that are going on with our steering here at the beginning. Just going down the trail, you can see how shaky the truck is. It's normally not this shaky. It's much smoother. The steering wheel's shaking a lot. Every time you see the camera shake, that's our steering wheel, the front end, really adding a lot of vibrations to the truck. Now, quickly, I want to show you guys some of the conditions that we were using to replicate this issue. Normally, we're going relatively high speed. It can be anywhere between 40 to 65, and doing hard braking on washboards. And it doesn't really have to be hard braking. It's just any form of braking on washboards will bring this issue out.
Oh, shit. You see that shit? Yeah.
And the shaking is extremely violent. It's rip your thumb off, break your wristband. It's something you just don't want to experience. It changes my grip on the steering wheel. I don't keep such a heavy grip on it. But it really shakes you to the core, and somebody's going to get hurt if something like this doesn't get fixed. And you'll see it here. It just kept happening, whether it was a washboard or in this case we hit a very small wash, something that the truck can normally roll over this like nothing. It would cause the steering wheel to violently jerk. Now the problem also kept getting progressively worse, and sometimes when we took little small jumps or small washes, if the suspension flexed, we would get codes on the dash. Traction control, collision avoidance, part of the ABS system would basically be disabled. We would lose all of our drive modes, we would lose the capability to change the steering wheel settings and all that stuff. All of this was in comfort mode. Our steering was in comfort mode. We invalidated a few times. Going between sport and comfort didn't make a difference with all these issues.
Payment, and our steering was way the fuck off. We did mild shit and the sensors went off, everything went off. So this is our steering on the way home. That's straight. This is how she stays straight. We start off the week with the red mark over here though, to the left. We got it back to center last night, spent a long time getting it back to center and making sure that she was driving straight. And then after the steering wheel shook like that today, she's off to the right now. And it keeps flopping back and forth. I'm sure if we would have kept playing today and we could have kept seeing that issue, she would have kept going back and forth both sides. So, Ford, we need to get this fixed up.
So quick update on the steering. It's gotten really bad to the point that the truck was really hard to control on this last trail. And as we looked at the truck the day after, my whole front end is completely out of whack. I mean, both tires are split. The bottom is kicked out farther than the top, which makes no sense with everything that I have on this truck. So let me show you what I mean. So that's the driver's side. If you look, the bottom's kicked out way more, and it's kind of pigeon-toed a little bit too, right? Look at the passenger side. It's even worse. I mean, that thing's almost sideways. Yeah, I don't know. On top of that, see that? The welds for the top shot for the shock bucket right there are starting to crack. Makes you wonder if there's anything else going on. Let's take a look at the other side. Alright, so crack on this side's a little bit worse. You can kind of see down there. Separating out quite a bit. We're gonna take the tires off today and get a closer look, but some major going on with the truck. And I don't know what it is. Good? So this is up, down. Wait. Go ahead. Up, down, solid.
Pushing downward, stopping. So side to side.
Keep doing that for a little bit.
Now we have problems.
Giving it a quick inspection under here. Brakes look like they still have decent life on them. At least from what we can see. Nothing looks obvious. I mean, the only obvious one is that. The frame cracking. Which, if you guys are wondering where that is, it's right there. Floor control arms look decent. Not noticing any separation there. Looks pretty good. Looks good there. Back end looks good. No obvious signs. I mean, there's a little bit of warping, but not crazy warping. That line was hanging. It's the live valve line, so we went ahead and fixed that. Looking up here, and then it's also a good idea with the problems that I've been having. Get your hands up in here and feel for any cracking. Because if it's moving, like mine is, there might be some issues up there. Take a look at those guys. Those guys look good. No signs of moving.
Lock the car. I'll put my keys in my room.
So everything looks okay. So I wonder what's going on. I mean, it's all signs point to this thing. It's all signs pointing to the steering. There's something wrong with the actual steering itself. Maybe there's something wrong with our shocks. I don't know. But she definitely don't feel good on the road and on the trails. Another thing I noticed, I'm not sure if this is normal. Some of my mechanic followers, if you guys can tell me if this is normal. But a little bit of movement there. I'm thinking that's normal. But you guys tell me. There's no movement there. None. So the ball joints are good. Okay. Now we decided to put on the 35s back on the truck, especially if we're going to get warranty work done. I don't want any excuses as to why they couldn't be supported. So we put the 35s back on, and man, what a difference it is between 35s and 37s on zero offset. Huge, huge difference. Now, once we put these 35s on, we wanted to eliminate the 37s as their cause. I know a lot of you guys are thinking about it. Could it be the 37s causing the issue? These are a little bit bigger. These are 13.5, so they could be a contributing factor. But we had the issue with the steering, with all the violent shaking, everything from the beginning, from when we first got the truck. And at its worst, it was when we were on the EXO run and we were running 35s on that run. 37s made it worse. Yes, so they are making the situation worse, but they're not the cause. So I know a lot of you guys are asking. I don't believe they're the cause. They're definitely they make the steering wheel feel worse. So we're gonna do a quick test drive, see if we still get the shaky steering wheel and all that stuff while we're on 35s. Now we got the 35s on there. She definitely looks like, you know, she goes to the gym, but she's not all bulked up like the way she used to be. All the alignment issues are still there, so that tire still looks way kicked out. This one still looks off. Now we're going to go test drive her, see how she handles with the 35s and see if there's a difference. So let's get to it. Don't mind how dirty the truck looks. We're going to get her washed today. You don't want to get her washed today?
No,
Why not?
because I'm tired.
So we got to get her washed.
Online school is hard.
Okay, we got to get her washed. We're going to do a little loop that I normally do every time I'm doing like alignment checks or whatever, just to make sure the truck's tracking right. She definitely feels peppier without the 37s. She definitely wants to take off. So alignment's still off. There she is right there, tracking down. Alignment's still off. It doesn't feel as bad. The 35s definitely the truck feels smoother. Now, one of the biggest problems we've had recently is all the feedback we're getting in the steering wheel, even in sport, especially in sport mode, but we get it even in comfort mode. Now, right now, I'm going to put the steering into sport mode to make it at its worst and see if it gets all jittery. And yeah, you can already see that it's starting to get jittery. So she's in sport mode, doing very little pressure on the steering wheel. Definitely not as bad as with the 37s. The 37s, the steering would basically be jerking around pretty bad. Very light touch. A little bit of a bump coming. Yeah, see all that? See a little bit of jitter? It's not as bad as with 37s, but it's still there. So I know a lot of you guys are wondering if that, so if the 37s are the culprit. I don't think they are. Like I said at the beginning of the video, we've been having issues from the start with this truck. They got at its worst during the EXO run, and we were running 35s on EXO. 35 stock wheels, stock tires, everything. I don't think the 37s are the cause. That being said, I think they are making it feel worse though. The weight of the 37s, the fact that they're farther out, you can definitely feel the truck is running harsher. Everything's working harder. The shocks are working harder. All the ball joints, everything is working harder with the 37s. So any issues that are down there are magnified by the 37s. They feel worse than they do on the 35s. But that doesn't mean that they're not there, right? We get the same violent shaking with the 35s as we do with the 37s. So I don't think they're the cause. They've only been on the truck for about 2,000 miles, not even enough to do a tire rotation. So I don't think they're the cause, guys. All right, guys, so right now we're waiting on Ford to let us know what we're going to be doing next. I got a pretty cool service advisor, so rather than have my truck sit at the dealer for a week or so waiting on Ford to do something, he went ahead and submitted the case like if the truck was there, and we're just waiting on Ford to give us some direction on what's going on. They have the video, so they have the videos of the violent shaking, they have the videos of the front end, the crack welds and all that stuff, so we just need to get some guidance on what do they want to do next to try to fix all of our steering problems of the front. For those of you guys thinking these are off-road related, yes, some of this can be off-road related, but it shouldn't be happening already. The truck only has 17,000 miles on it. It's way too soon for this stuff to be happening. If it was closer to 50,000 miles, then it's understandable. At 17,000, it's not okay. They shouldn't be happening. So I'm going to keep you guys updated as we hear from the dealership. Hopefully it's soon. It's already been 4 days and we haven't heard back, and I guess Ford has 7 to 10 business days to get back to the dealer on what to do next, which is unfortunate. Unfortunately, that means I'm going to miss a couple of off-road runs. I'm going to be stuck at home a little bit, but we still got some stuff to do on this truck that we can probably take care of. All right, guys, so as I hear back from Ford and I hear back from my dealer, I'll keep you guys updated. So we'll continue this video series on what's going on with my damn steering. If you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you put them down below, and we'll see you guys on the next one.